With every major World of Warcraft patch, there are undocumented changes, and people find these changes and they make lists. And in this case, in 7.3, there was an undocumented change which caused all vanilla dungeons like Alderman and Shadowfang Keep and all the vanilla dungeons to be forced to personal loot. Now, you might think that that doesn't make a hell of a difference, and in fact, it might be better because you're getting transmog faster for your class, right? Well, actually, there's a lot of things that make this actually a pretty detrimental to dungeon farmers like me, and I'm going to show you here what differences they are. First, I just kind of want to explain a little bit about why anybody would want to farm dungeons in the first place, just to make sure we're on the same level here. For one, people want to collect transmog gear. There are people that want to get gold. There are people that want to farm enchanting materials. So farming dungeons is a good way to do that. Well, this change has made that worse in every way. I'm just going to go by one and show you exactly how these changes made dungeon farming really intolerable. As you can see from this old BRD video from 2015, I love dungeon farming on my hunter. I was very fast at it. I had a pretty efficient method. I've been farming dungeons in WoW since at least 2005. If you just look at my YouTube channel and search videos, you'll find all the way back to 2005 I was farming Alderman. I got videos from farming Alderman that long ago. Usually over time, Blizzard makes changes that make farming a little bit better, such as Bear Tartar, items in the game that allow us to run faster, macros and things that allow us to disenchant on the run. A lot of cool things that make farming more tolerable. So this is the first time I think that I can think of in WoW history where a change has actually made it worse. All right. So as of right now, it appears that this only affects vanilla dungeons. It doesn't affect Burning Crusade dungeons, and it doesn't affect Wrath of the Lich King dungeons. I haven't tried any other ones. It also doesn't seem to affect raids. So this is mostly vanilla dungeons right now, but it looks like Blizzard is kind of on a trend to make everything scale or change everything to personal loot. And I'm just going to show here how changing everything to personal loot is just worse. So firstly, less loot. Yes, believe it or not, you actually get less loot. This clip is from 7.2.5. This is, if you see, it's a little blurry, but you can see I'm getting a bunch of rune cloth and I'm getting a bunch of silver. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually adds up. Now here's a second clip from the same area, 7.2.5. As you can see, I'm getting 6+ rune cloth from that first group of 3. And then I'm getting silver from every mob pretty much. All right, now here's a 7.3 version of the same exact area in LBRS. Now, if you look closely, you can see I'm getting almost no silver. The rune cloth, I'm getting fewer rune cloth. And I'm actually getting fewer greens and blues. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go run this stuff and see for yourself. Overall, you get less loot. I've been testing in Alderman. I've been testing in LBRS. All right, so here we have a comparison with 7.2.5 on the left and 7.3 on the right. And clearly I'm getting a lot less items and a lot less gold and especially a lot less grays too. You don't have to take my word for it. If you've been farming dungeons for a while, you can go in here and test yourself. This is actually happening. You're getting less loot overall. But aside from less loot, I want to point out the loot window there popping up. It is so much better for enchanters to disenchant on the run as opposed to filling your bags up and then having to go through item by item and see which one do I want to disenchant, which one do I want to send to an alt, which one do I actually want to equip and earn the appearance of. It's really just tedious to sit here and fumble around with your gear at the end of a run or at the end of all your runs together. Sometimes you want to farm for a long time without having to disenchant stuff, and that was the nice thing about 7.2.5. You could do it on the run. Lastly, I want to point out Postmaster problems, Postmaster harassment. Because it's on personal loot, and I'm using an add-on called Carney's Crap Filter to block out loot, I'm getting loot sent to me in the mail because it's not entering my bags. I'm intentionally blocking it from entering my bags. And I go to town, and I've got these in-game mails from the Postmaster just bugging me, sending me loot I don't want. So it's one after another. I just want to summarize here. The undocumented 7.3 change, which was personal loot, in all vanilla dungeons has given us less loot, no disenchanting on the move. Bags fill up more quickly and you spend more time fiddling around with what you do with your loot. And lastly, the Postmaster harasses the crap out of you. The only short-term advantage to this loot system is that your chances for getting a specific item for a specific class are slightly increased. But in the long run, you're getting less loot for the same amount of effort. I remain optimistic in the hopes that Blizzard will eventually revert this change and stop going down the path of personal loot and scaling.